Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
All right, let's get started. It is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. And welcome everyone to Connecting the Dots.
Good to be here.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
And we are colleagues here at Snarful Solutions Group, recording from, sunny Sacramento today.
Yeah, it's actually really nice out. What is it, 85 degrees?
About that, yeah. A perfect day.
Mm-hmm.
Quick look at the markets before we jump in. Yesterday, Wednesday the 21st, the Dow closed at 418.60.44.
Okay.
And the S&P 500 finished up at 58844.61.
Got it.
So today, we're going to tackle three big tech stories that really caught our eye.
Yeah, and we'll try to break down not just what they are, but, what they might actually mean for you.
Exactly. How does this connect back?
It's pretty wild how fast everything's moving, isn't it? These stories.
Wow.
Faster AI, Bitcoin going crazy, and even books about AI leaders.
Right. They seem separate, but they really show how dynamic tech is and how much it's weaving into everything. Okay, so first up, Google DeepMind. Gemini Diffusion. That was part of their big I.O. event, right?
Yeah, exactly. They announced Gemini Diffusion. It's still experimental, available via waitlist, I think.
Experimental. Okay. But what's the headline? What's got people talking?
Well, it's the speed, the text generation speed. They're claiming it can generate text at 1,000 to 2,000 tokens per second.
Whoa. Okay. 1,000 to 2,000 tokens per second. Put that in perspective for us. Like, what's normal?
Well, normal varies, but think about Grok. They're known for being super fast, right? They're around 275 tokens per second. And your typical providers are quite a bit slower than even that.
So this is a massive jump.
A huge leap, yeah. A token is roughly, a word or part of a word. So this is just a different league.
How does it work so differently? I thought AI text was usually like one word and the next word sequentially.
That's the standard way, yeah. It's called autoregressive. It predicts the next bit based on the previous bits, like your phone keyboard guessing the next word. Diffusion models, which we've seen work really well for image generation, they do it differently. They sort of start with randomness, like digital static almost.
Right.
And then they refine that noise step by step based on the prompt until coherent text emerges. It's like focusing a blurry picture.
So less like building, more like sculpting.
That's a good way to put it. And yeah, Gemini Diffusion is really the first big attempt to apply this image technique to text generation on this scale.
And people who've seen it are impressed. I heard jaw-dropping.
Yeah, apparently the responsiveness in demos is pretty remarkable. Near real time, it fit right in with Google's whole I.O. theme this year. Lots of AI upgrades, focus on speed, integration.
Okay, so let's connect the dots for, us here at Starful and for everyone listening. Beyond just being cool tech, what does this mean practically? What changes?
Well, the potential is pretty significant. Faster text generation means potentially much quicker AI assistance.
Like ask a question, get an answer instantly.
Almost, yeah. Or think about content creation tools, drafting emails, reports. Imagine that happening in true real time.
Okay, that could speed things up.
For us internally, maybe faster data analysis, quicker comms. As this stuff gets baked into the software we all use, you could see real efficiency gains.
Definitely something to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears completely. Bitcoin.
Yes. Never stays quiet for long, does it?
Not really. It's hitting new records again.
Yeah, big time. It's smashed past its old highs. Went over $109,000, then $109,486 yesterday. And today, Thursday, it's actually crossed $110,000.
Wow, $110K. What kind of jump is that from recent lows?
It's surged over 46% just since the low point back in April.
46%. Okay, what's fueling this fire? Is it just hype again?
Well, analysts think it might be a bit more sustainable this time. There are a few key drivers.
Like what?
First, those spot Bitcoin ETFs, they're seeing huge inflows again in May, about $3.6 billion net.
So more mainstream money coming in through those funds.
Exactly. It makes it easier for people to get exposure. Second, you've got these big Bitcoin-focused companies like Michael Saylor's Strategy and this new one, 21 Capital. They're actively buying more Bitcoin. That signals confidence.
So serious players doubling down.
Right. And then there's the regulatory side. Things are looking, maybe slightly more positive in the U.S.
How so?
There's a stablecoin bill making progress in the Senate. Little steps like that seem to add legitimacy or at least reduce uncertainty for digital assets.
Okay. that makes sense. Anything else? Broader market stuff?
Yeah, could be. Maybe easing trade tensions help risk appetite. And even Moody's downgrading U.S. debt might push some investors to look at alternatives.
Huh. Interesting link.
Plus, the NASDAQ is doing well, which often means investors are feeling good about tech and growth, maybe spilling over into crypto.
And didn't I see something about Jamie Dimon? He used to be super anti-Bitcoin.
That's a big signal, yeah. Even Jamie Dimon, who was famously skeptical, now says JP Morgan will let clients buy Bitcoin.
Wow.
And Coinbase just got added to the S&P 500, so traditional finance is definitely getting more involved.
So the thinking is,
Yeah,
this isn't just froth, it's got legs this time.
that seems to be the analyst consensus, yeah. Better financial conditions, the ETF flows, institutional buying, maybe less wild speculation than before.
Okay, so for people listening who maybe don't own Bitcoin, why should they care about this rally? How does it connect?
Well, even if you're not invested, Bitcoin's price can be a kind of barometer for overall risk appetite in the market.
Like a confidence indicator.
Sort of, yeah. When investors are piling into something seen as risky, like Bitcoin, it might suggest broader optimism, which could affect your stocks, your 401k, the whole economy, potentially.
Okay.
And just the fact that it's becoming more integrated with traditional finance means it's becoming part of the financial furniture we all need to be aware of.
Gotcha. Good perspective. All right, third topic. Shifting back to AI, but more about the people in the narrative.
Right. Specifically Sam Altman and OpenAI. There are 2 new books out about them.
2. Okay. Do they agree?
Not entirely, no. They offer pretty different takes. One is Empire of AI by Karen Howe. And that one's, let's say, more critical. It compares the AI industry's hunger for resources data, computing power, to, historical colonialism.
Ooh, strong comparison.
Yeah. It suggests this race for artificial superintelligence is maybe becoming this all-consuming thing with hidden costs.
A cautionary tale. Sort of.
That's the other book. It's called The Optimist by Keith Shaggy. And while the title sounds positive, the book apparently leaves you wondering if Altman himself, this sort of unassuming figure, might end up wielding enormous power through AI.
Interesting. So one worries about the process, the other maybe about the person at the center.
Kind of, yeah. Different angles on the whole phenomenon.
It's fascinating to see these deep dives happening while everything is still unfolding so fast.
Absolutely. And Altman himself had some observations recently about how people are actually using these tools, like ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He pointed out a generational difference. Younger users, Gen Z, millennials, especially college students, they seem to be using it more like a life advisor.
The life advisor. Seriously?
Yeah. Or even an operating system for parts of their life, integrating it really deeply into decisions, workflows.
Wow. Compared to older users.
Who might use it more like a better search engine, for specific tasks, information retrieval.
That's a really stark difference in adoption.
Yeah.
Using AI as your OS.
It definitely raises questions, right?
Yeah.
About trust, reliance, the safety of taking life advice from an LLM. Experts are debating the ethics of that.
For sure. Okay, and there's one more quirky thing. The chatbots themselves have opinions on Altman.
Yeah, that was funny. Someone prompted a bunch of the big AI chatbots, ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, Gemini, Meta AI, Perplexity, asking who should lead AI development, Sam Altman or Elon Musk?
No, what did they say?
Most of them lean towards Altman. They mentioned things like his focus on safety, collaboration, his track record.
Interesting. What about Musk's own chatbot, Grok?
Predictably, Grok picked Musk. It cited his focus on, quote, long-term survival and first principles thinking.
Of course it did. It's like asking a Ford who makes the best truck.
Pretty much. But it does kind of highlight the different philosophies out there.
So wrapping this section up, what's the main takeaway for you from these books, the usage patterns? How does this connect?
I think it just underscores how deeply AI is starting to permeate things, from big picture questions about leadership and control down to, how you personally might use it for advice or work.
Right.
Understanding these different views and seeing how usage is evolving differently across generations helps you think more critically about AI's impact now and where it might be heading.
Makes sense. It's not just code, it's how we interact with it.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the big points from today's deep dive.
Sounds good.
We started with Google's Gemini Diffusion, that potentially game-changing speed in AI text generation.
Right, moving from sequential to diffusion-based text.
Then we hit Bitcoin's massive rally, pushing past $110K for the first time.
Driven by things like ETFs, institutional buying, and maybe a slightly better regulatory outlaw.
And finally, We looked at the narratives around Sam Altman and OpenAI through those two new books and how different generations are actually using tools like ChatGPT.
Yeah, highlighting the growing influence and the evolving human-AI relationship.
It really paints a picture of tech moving incredibly fast, affecting finance, work, even how we get advice.
Absolutely. Constant change.
Well, that's a quick look at some of the key tech news shaping our world today. We hope this deep dive has helped you connect the dots and understand what these developments mean for you.
Yeah, hope it was useful.
We are here to help here at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.